Every car brand you know started somewhere strange. In a bicycle shop, an aircraft factory, or a story nobody tells you. This is part 2. 8 more famous brands, and the surprising, forgotten, sometimes heartbreaking way each one actually began. A founder who died broke. A logo built on a lie. A hood ornament hiding a secret. Let's get into it. The man who founded Chevrolet died almost penniless, working as a mechanic for the very company that still carries his name today. Louis Chevrolet was a Swiss watchmaker's son. He started in a bicycle shop, then became a famous, fearless American racing driver. In 1911, he teamed up with William Durant, the founder of General Motors, and they launched a car company under Chevrolet's name. But they clashed over how the cars should look. By 1915, Louis Chevrolet had walked away from the company that wore his own name. He kept starting new ventures and kept failing. Then the Great Depression wiped out what money he had left entirely. So in his final years, he took a job as a mechanic on the assembly line, building the cars that already carried his surname. Today, Chevrolet sells millions of cars a year across the world. Louis never saw a cent of that empire built on his name. He died in 1941. The name is on millions of cars. The man behind it is a story almost nobody remembers. Before Porsche ever built a sports car, its founder designed one of the most famous cars in history, the Volkswagen Beetle. Ferdinand Porsche was an engineer, and in the 1930s, the German government hired him to design a cheap people's car for everyone. That became the Beetle, one of the best-selling cars ever made, but it wore the Volkswagen name, not Porsche's. Only in 1948 did the first car wear the Porsche name, and it borrowed the Beetle's engine-in-the-back layout to do it. That rear-engine layout became Porsche's signature. The quirk it inherited from a budget people's car became its defining trait. And the two companies stayed tangled for generations through family, ownership, and shared engineering in a knot that never came undone. Today, Porsche is one of the most desirable sports car makers alive, and Volkswagen, the people's car company, now owns it completely. The budget car and the dream car. Same designer, same layout, and now, the same owner. History came full circle. You've been told the BMW logo is a spinning aircraft propeller. It isn't, and BMW knows it isn't. They started the myth themselves. BMW did start out making aircraft engines back in 1917 during the First World War. That part of the story is completely true. But the logo is just the blue and white of the Bavarian flag, their home region, with the colors flipped to obey a trademark law. The propeller idea came from their own 1929 advert. They reused it in 1942, people believed it, and BMW simply never corrected them. Their first car wasn't even their own design. It was a licensed copy of a tiny British Austin 7, rebadged and built in Germany. They went from aircraft engines to motorcycles to cars, each step teaching them the engineering they'd later become famous for. Today, BMW is a byword for precision driving, built on Bavarian colors and an aircraft heritage. Just not the spinning propeller you pictured. So the badge is a flag, not a propeller, one of the most successful pieces of accidental marketing in car history. One of the world's oldest car makers exists because a man got a rude reply to a complaint about his broken bicycle. In 1895, Václav Klemens's bike broke. He complained to the maker, and they replied rudely that he should write in a language they understood. Furious, he teamed up with mechanic Václav Laurin and started building their own bicycles. They called the brand Slavia. Bicycles became motorcycles became cars, and their little workshop grew into the biggest car maker in all of Austria-Hungary. Then came decades behind the Iron Curtain. Under communism, Škoda became a bit of a joke, a punchline for a cheap, unreliable car. After the wall fell, Volkswagen bought them, and slowly turned the joke brand back into a respected, well-built car maker again. Today, Škoda sells reliable, well-reviewed cars across the world. One of the oldest names in motoring, born from one rude letter. From a complaint about a bike to over a century of cars. Spite, it turns out, can build an empire. The company that makes Subaru once built fighter planes for the Japanese military, and its logo is a real cluster of stars. Subaru grew out of Nakajima, Japan's first aircraft company. During the Second World War, it was a major builder of warplanes. After the war, the company was broken up, then slowly pieced back together from several smaller firms that had survived the collapse. When they merged, they named the car brand Subaru, the Japanese word for the Pleiades star cluster and the 6 stars in their logo. The stars aren't just decoration. They represent the companies that came together, gathered into one, exactly as the name suggests. And the aircraft roots stuck. Their obsession with lightweight, rigid, balanced engineering came straight from designing things that had to fly. Today, Subaru is famous for all-wheel drive and boxer engines. Ideas rooted in aircraft wearing a badge made of stars. A warplane maker named after a constellation. Every Subaru on the road quietly carries a piece of the night sky. Volvo invented the seatbelt that's in your car right now, and then gave it away to every rival, completely free. In 1958, Volvo hired Niels Bohlin, an engineer who had designed ejection seats for fighter jets, as their first ever safety engineer. Old lap belts could injure you in a crash. Bohlin's design crossed the chest and hips and could be buckled with just one hand. Volvo patented it in 1959, then made an extraordinary choice. They released the patent for free because it saved too many lives to keep. Any car maker could now use it. Within years, it was law in country after country, and it's been standard in cars ever since. That single decision is credited with saving well over 1 million lives, possibly the most generous act in automotive history. Today, Volvo is still synonymous with safety, the company that could have charged the world for the seatbelt and simply chose not to. Every time you click your seatbelt, that's Volvo, a patent they owned and gave to all of us for nothing. The flying lady on every Rolls-Royce is a real woman, and she's a hidden tribute to a secret, forbidden love affair. Rolls-Royce was founded in 1906 by Charles Rolls, a wealthy car dealer, and Henry Royce, a perfectionist engineer. Luxury from the start. By 1910, rich owners were bolting tacky mascots onto their cars. The company was appalled and decided it needed one dignified figure of its own. They hired sculptor Charles Sykes, and in secret, he modeled the figure on Eleanor Thornton, the private muse behind the whole design. Eleanor was the secret lover of an aristocrat. Their romance was hidden because of class, so the first statue showed her, finger to her lips. In 1915, Eleanor died at sea when a German torpedo sank her ship, but the figure modeled on her had already become immortal. Today, that same figure leads every Rolls-Royce ever made, gliding silently through the world, a love story frozen in silver. She's called the spirit of ecstasy, a woman who had to be hidden in life, now seen on the world's most famous cars. Elon Musk did not found Tesla, 2 other men did, and they named it after a genius who died alone and broke. Tesla was founded in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, 2 engineers who believed electric cars could finally beat petrol ones. They named it after Nikola Tesla, the inventor behind the alternating current that powers the world, whose motor design their car would use. Elon Musk arrived in 2004 as an investor. He led the funding, became chairman, and only later became the face of the whole company. Their first car, the Roadster, proved an electric car could be fast and desirable. It changed how the world saw electric vehicles forever. But the founders clashed with Musk, and both left the company by 2008. The men who started Tesla walked away from what it became. Today, Tesla is one of the most valuable car companies on Earth, named for a forgotten genius founded by 2 men history overlooks. Nikola Tesla died broke, his genius unrewarded. A century later, his name is on the most famous electric cars in the world. A mechanic who died broke, a logo built on a myth, a love story in silver. Every badge hides a story you never knew. Next time you see one of these cars, you'll know. Behind every polished badge is a founder, a fight, or a secret. If you missed part 1, it's waiting for you. Subscribe and tell me which brand's story surprised you most in the comments.